She thought her father never loved her until the day she found the letter he wrote before he died.
Sarah grew up believing her father was a cold, distant man. He never said "I love you," never hugged her, and always seemed to be disappointed in her. At least that's how she saw it. From a young age, she decided that once she was old enough, she would leave home and never look back. And she did. At 18, she packed her bags and moved across the country, determined to build a life without him. For years, she ignored his calls, deleted his messages, and never once visited. In her heart, she thought she was free, but she didn't know. Time was running out.
One rainy evening, 10 years after she had left home, Sarah got a phone call from a stranger. "Is this Sarah Miller?" the voice asked gently. "Yes," she replied, confused. "I'm calling from Riverside Hospital. It's about your father. You should come as soon as possible." Her chest tightened. She hadn't heard his voice in over a decade, and now she might never get the chance again. 2 hours later, she stood in the sterile white hallway of the hospital, the smell of antiseptic filling the air. The doctor walked out, his face heavy. "I'm sorry. He passed away just before you arrived, but he left something for you." From his coat pocket, the doctor pulled out an old, weathered envelope with her name written in shaky handwriting.
Sarah sat in the hospital's dim waiting room, the envelope trembling in her hands. Her heart raced. 10 years of silence, anger, and unanswered questions, all sealed inside. She hesitated, then slowly tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of yellowed paper, written in uneven handwriting. "My dear Sarah, I know I don't have the right to ask for your forgiveness. I failed you as a father. I let my pride destroy our family, and I never told you the truth. There's something you must know about the night you left." Her eyes blurred with tears. Before she could read further, the sound of footsteps approached. A nurse appeared, holding a small wooden box. This was also with him. "He said you would understand." Sarah stared at the box. It was the same one she had tried to open as a child, the one her father had always hidden.
Sarah's hands shook as she placed the wooden box on the small hospital table. Her father had guarded it for decades, never letting anyone near. With trembling fingers, she unlatched the rusted lock. The hinges creaked and the lid opened, revealing old photographs, a silver locket, and a small folded map. The photographs were worn, their edges curling, pictures of her as a little girl, smiling in her father's arms. She hadn't seen that smile on him since her mother left. Her heart clenched as she picked up the locket. Inside was a picture of her mother, and on the other side, a baby Sarah. Then her eyes fell on the folded map. It was marked with a red circle in the middle of a forest. Next to it, in her father's shaky handwriting, were the words, "The truth is buried here." Sarah sat alone in her car, the folded map resting on the passenger seat. The hospital lights faded in the rearview mirror as she drove into the night. The road twisted through miles of dark, silent countryside. Her father's words from years ago echoed in her mind, warnings she had ignored. Every mile brought her closer to the red circle on the map, and deeper into questions she wasn't sure she wanted answered. Finally, she reached the edge of the forest. The moonlight filtered through the tall pines, casting eerie shadows that seemed to move. She stepped out of the car, her breath turning into clouds in the cold air. In the distance, she could hear something, a faint rustling, almost like footsteps. Clutching a flashlight, she took her first step into the woods. The deeper Sarah walked into the forest, the colder it became. Her flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing twisted roots and strange carvings on tree trunks. She stopped at one particular tree. Its bark was stripped away, revealing a symbol burned deep into the wood. It was the same symbol her mother used to draw in her sketchbook, the one she never explained. Her heartbeat quickened. The sound of the rustling grew louder, now accompanied by the snap of a twig. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling. No answer, only the whisper of the wind, until a shadow moved quickly between the trees. She tightened her grip on the flashlight and took a step forward, unaware that eyes were watching her from the darkness. A sudden gust of wind blew through the trees, almost knocking Sarah off balance. Her flashlight flickered, once, twice, and then went completely dark. Her breath quickened. She tapped the flashlight desperately, and it blinked back on for just a second, enough to reveal a face. An old woman stood only a few feet away. Her skin was pale, her eyes milky white, and her mouth opened slowly, but no sound came out. Sarah froze, unable to speak or move. The woman lifted a trembling hand and pointed deeper into the forest. Then, without warning, she vanished into thin air. Sarah's heart pounded as she realized she had just seen someone who shouldn't exist.
Sarah stood frozen, staring into the darkness where the woman had been just moments ago. Her hands trembled as she slowly moved toward the spot. The forest grew eerily silent. No wind, no insects, no sound at all. It felt as if the entire world had stopped breathing. Suddenly, her foot struck something solid. She knelt down and brushed away the leaves to reveal a small, weathered locket. Inside the locket was a faded photograph of a young girl who looked shockingly familiar. Sarah's heart skipped a beat because the girl in the photo was her, but the date written on the back was from 50 years ago.
Sarah's breath quickened. How is this possible? She whispered, her voice trembling. She suddenly remembered her grandmother's stories about a girl who had gone missing decades ago near these very woods. The girl's name was also Sarah. Her fingers tightened around the locket as the air around her grew colder, and then from behind her, she heard the soft voice again. "I've been waiting for you." Sarah spun around, and there she was, the woman from before, standing closer now, her face partly illuminated by the pale moonlight. But this time, Sarah could see it clearly. The woman's face looked exactly like hers, only older, much older.
Sarah's knees felt weak. The older woman stepped forward, her voice calm yet heavy with sorrow. "I am you from another time," she said softly. "I never escaped this forest. I wandered alone until I became nothing but a shadow of my own past." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. "Why me? Why now?" The older Sarah reached out and placed the locket in her younger self's hands. "Because you still have a chance. The chance I never took." A sudden wind swept through the trees, carrying whispers of voices long gone. The moonlight brightened, illuminating a narrow path out of the forest. "Go, before it's too late!" Sarah clutched the locket, turned and ran. She didn't dare look back. When she finally emerged into the open fields, the forest behind her looked calm, almost peaceful, as if nothing had ever happened. But deep down, she knew someone was still waiting in those woods.